What's up, everybody? We're back for another episode of the O'Reilly Show. And on the O'Reilly Show, we're going to bring you content straight from us student athletes. And we want you to interact with us and engage with us as well. There is no Riley today. Riley is actually traveling to play Alabama this weekend. But we do have a special guest for you guys. And today our special guest is, please introduce yourself.
Josh Pate in Knoxville, one day only, so it's nice to be over here, man.
Smooth. What brings you to Knoxville?
Sat down with Coach Heupel earlier today doing our show, Late Kick Live, from here later tonight. And also it's like 75 and sunny outside, so like why not be here?
It's a great day.
Yeah.
You really chose a great day to come because the weather here, it goes back and forth. You never really know. So let's just get straight into it. Let's talk about some football. You know, being covering a lot of college sports, a lot of college football, really, and conferences. What do you feel about the SEC that separates the SEC from other conferences?
Well, so they run that promo, it just means more a lot, which is true. I know outsiders don't like it, but it's kind of that way because it's true. I think the outsider, maybe the typical fan, would be just utterly stunned if you could experience road environments, you know, because you play. But I mean, folks watch it on TV or folks go sit in the stands, but like they don't understand walking into a road environment. Small locker room, probably can't even fit your entire team in there. You got training tables out in the course, concourse. You got your PB&J things out there. You got a bunch of stuff. You got a huge operation that goes on the road, and there's not enough room to house it. All right, so that's before you take the field. Then you got these dingy corridors you got to walk through, and then you take the field, and it's noise like you would only experience if you were on a runway, near jet engines. And so what's crazy to me is you guys train in spring. You got workouts when no one's watching. You may be in the indoor at like 8 o'clock tonight for all I know, working on little intricacies of things. Then you go through summer workouts and you may have your shirt off and there's no one watching and it's hot, but like you're just with your guys.
Right.
That's all leading to a 3rd and 3 in Gainesville or in Tuscaloosa or in Athens in the fall, and there's like 100,000 people, full throat, and that environment's nothing like the one you train in. But you got to train to be ready for it. And that part is turned up to 11 in the SEC. We go to Ohio State, it's like that. We go to Penn State, it's like that. Oregon's like that. But as a collective, there's no conference that has that bottled up more so than the SEC.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with you. Being in the SEC and playing on the road is definitely like a tough thing to do. And I know for sure our team, that's something that we really are focusing on this year, is just being able to win on the road. We create those loud environments at practice, and that's something I feel like you're able to win those big games on the road. I feel like that puts you in a place where you can really be successful as a team.
Because here's the thing. So if I didn't even take someone playing football, if I just took them from their desk job, and I said, you're going to travel with Tennessee this weekend. They're going to go to Athens. They're going to play in Georgia. They don't even have to suit up. They don't have to go on the field. They don't have to play. Just experience it. Experience the travel. Experience how much your senses are like overloaded if you're not mentally prepared for it. They'd stand there, 3, 2, 1, balls kicked off, and they would think to themselves, I can't believe people function in this.
Literally. Yeah, it's tough, but it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
It's what we signed up for. It's a good feeling for sure, being able to have those fans, get off the bus. Those fans, whether you home game or away game, your away game, they're probably booing you, throwing something at you maybe, but that's what you live for. It's the SEC. Let's talk about Tennessee football. Like, what all do you know about Tennessee football? Like, when you think of Tennessee football, what's a memory that comes back to you?
I think of Philip Fulmer, because when I was a young kid and I first started watching college football, first started watching the SEC, Phil Fulmer and Tennessee were one of the top programs in the country. And so it was like them, it was Florida, that Florida-Tennessee game every year back then. Not only was big for those two fan bases, but that was a national title implication game. That was an SEC title implication game. So I think about that. I think about when I'm growing up, like my dad is showing me old VHS tapes and like legitimate film of General Nealon coaching against like Bryant back in the decades prior. And so I learned about Tennessee as like a behemoth program, like one of the foundational pillar staples of the SEC, which they are. So here's what's funny though. So then if you're 18 years old, then you've only lived like one generation.
Right.
But then when you get to be 28 or 38 or 48, I think of every 10 years as a generation. So if you're not careful, you can get to a period where you think of something differently than that current generation thinks.
Right.
So if you're 16, 17, 18 today, and you haven't seen Tennessee win a national title in your lifetime, you don't think of them the same way I thought of them.
Right.
So then, like when I do a show and I talk about Tennessee a lot, one of the big arguments we have when we're talking about Tennessee is, what are they capable of? Well, what I found was folks had slipped into this mentality of, oh, Tennessee was once something, but that's kind of the past generation. They can't be that. They talk the same way about Nebraska. And whatever Nebraska is whatever they are. But like, you look at what it takes to win, everything's here. I mean, there's construction all over the place. So it's like everything's still here.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the great detachments that I found talking about programs like Tennessee, because I grew up thinking about them one way. I think they could still be that now.
Right.
And you may be talking to someone of a younger generation and you're having to convince them of that.
I feel you. And one thing that I caught that you said was that how Tennessee is like a staple for the SEC. I want to say, I don't remember what year, but I think like the SEC was like kind of started in Knoxville, actually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And it's great. I've seen some of those tapes, like just in the meeting room, they show us film of national championship teams before that, guys that just came before us who really laid down and laid their legacy for us to follow after them and just be the players who we are, just following their footsteps. So that tape, it does definitely look different, and you just see those guys played with a different type of tempo. So it was really amazing to see.
You know, one of the other things, and I love the tradition of college football because I love that there are some things that you do right now in 2024 that a guy who played here in 1979 did. And Tennessee does a really good job of crystallizing that. They stay modern, so there's newness around the program, but at the nucleus, like, there are things that are done. There are songs that are played by the band. There are pregame traditions, in-game traditions. There's stuff that you do today that they did in 1979. There's stuff you do today that a kid in 2049 will do.
Right.
And I don't think sometimes guys realize in the moment, because you're so consumed with the game, I don't think people sometimes realize how huge just the overall scope of like Tennessee football is until maybe you're removed a little bit. You come back here 20 years from now and you look and say, dang man, I was part of that.
Yeah.
The dudes before me were, the dudes here and now, like I was a part of something huge.
I really, I kind of have started to notice that a little more because I have been here, played with guys who went on to the league, went on to start their new lives, and talk to them is like they get away from it kind of, and they look back, they're just like, man, like, really enjoy that time that you're there, because like looking back on it, like it's a precious time. So that's something that's real. You said it and other people said it as well. So you go on a college tour basically every year, and this past year was Once Upon a Saturday. So do you know what this upcoming year would be, the name of the tour this season?
I don't. We did Renaissance Tour 2 years ago. We did Once Upon a Saturday Tour last year. I kind of like to, I'm really big into mixing those themes of like storytelling, romanticism, fairy tale with practical Saturday in the fall of college football. I got some ideas. I don't know yet. Normally what I'll do is just put it to the crowd, put it to the audience, because a lot of times, I mean, you got like hundreds of thousands to millions in your audience. They're going to have better ideas than you anyway. So they came through 2 years ago. They'll probably come through again for me. But if they don't, I got some backups. But I'm not ready to name them yet.
For sure. And just talk about when you go on this tour, like what are you doing on this tour for the people who necessarily haven't seen your tour before? What do you do? What's all goes into your team being with you, producing this, making sure everything is run smoothly?
If you were to have gone back to me at 10 years old and you asked, what's your absolute dream scenario, dream job? You fast forward a couple of decades, and that's basically what we do.
Okay.
So we go Sunday night. It's our big Sunday night live show. Also on that live show, I'll announce where we're going the next week, because we will choose it that day.
Okay.
And it's the biggest game in the country every week.
So is it kind of like the college game day?
It is.
You choose?
It is kind of like that. Where game day is a lot of the time.
Okay.
Would probably 2/3 of the year be at the same game they're at. So we'll go All week we'll lead up to it. We'll have a live show Tuesday, live show Thursday, probably fly either late Thursday night or Friday to the city we're going to go to, do some media in that city on Friday, radio hits and local news and stuff like that. And then Saturday is my easiest day of the week. You just go stand on the sidelines and watch the game, and then you fly home and you talk about it, rinse, repeat. So you basically get a front row seat to your hand-picked game every week, and you get access like no one else gets. And even in the spring, man, like we get to come here, and we've been doing this all spring, and so they pay you to do it too.
That's good.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's good. You said 10 years old, if you actually your dream job, it would have been. Did you say 10 years old or 10 years ago?
Either, but yes, 10 years,
Okay.
10 years old and 10 years ago.
Okay, so what, being 10, thinking you want this job right here, what do you think like made you want to be the person that you are today?
I always watched the game like everyone else did. I loved football, I loved sports like everyone else did, but I always found like this weird fascination with how they were produced, how they were presented. I loved mimicking the play-by-play guys. Like I love pretending I had a mic in my hand and I'd do the pregame and postgame studio coverage stuff. So I was always, even as a kid, like I was drawn to that. Now, I had no idea how to get in that business. And even as recently as 10 years ago, maybe, I was really confused about how to get into it. I had the passion. I thought I had enough talent, like God-given ability, and I'd be willing to sharpen it and do whatever I needed to do. But man, the real game changer for me was in the mid-20 teens, less than a decade ago. That's when YouTube, Facebook at the time, et cetera, they started allowing you to stream live.
Right.
Now it's common. Now everybody does it. But back then, if you didn't have overhead and distribution, meaning if you didn't have a multi-million-dollar studio and rights through like an ESPN or a Fox or an NBC, you weren't going to get seen nationally. And all of a sudden, those platforms tear down that little Berlin Wall, so to speak, and they say, no, if you're good enough, like your overhead and your distribution is in your hand. It's a cell phone. So at that point, I said, there's a way. And so I started my own YouTube channel, and I was doing local news at the time. So I was a news anchor at the time, but I knew I wanted to do this. News is depressing. You don't want to be waking up 5 o'clock every morning doing that.
I feel you.
So we ended up doing. It took several years, but we built the show to where it was something that the folks at CBS noticed, and they called me up and said, "You want to come do that here?" And so all of a sudden, you kind of jump on a rocket ship when you do that. But even back before I had any idea how that worked, I knew I wanted to do it. And I know you got any given number of people watching this right now that could be passionate about any number of things, could have nothing to do with broadcasting. You may not know how to put the wheels on it, so to speak, but you got the dream, like you got, it's just, I tell my story a lot because it's so important in a sense that if you'll just keep hammering away, you just flat out don't give up. Like if you do nothing more than not giving up, you're gonna have some bad days, bad months or whatever. It's crazy what you can accomplish.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's motivation, honestly, because I'm interested in broadcasting things like that. That's my major. So it's good. Appreciate you. Okay, so now we're gonna get a chance to get into a little bit of just what we want to call Talking Tennessee, where we get a chance just to get to know you a little bit more. So first we have, what's the best quote in any sports movie that you would say?
I am a big Remember the Titans guy.
Okay.
Love a ton from that, but I also love Field of Dreams because I can go any sports movie, right?
Any sports
so
movie.
I'm a big Field of Dreams. It's actually my favorite movie of all time. So in Field of Dreams, there is a very misquoted part. The misquoted part is, if you build it, they will come, which is never said in the movie. So if you build it, he will come. And I always loved it because of what it signified, and it's the whole father-son thing that plays out. I'm a big believer that Field of Dreams is just a movie about far more than sports, but baseball is woven into it. In football, man, I got like a top 10 in my head just from Remember the Titans alone. So don't ever do pregnant pauses like this, by the way. Never stay quiet this long.
I got you.
I've got a tough time narrowing it down in Remember the Titans. Field of Dreams, though, it's absolutely, if you build it, he will come.
Smooth. See, mine, I would have to say, one is from Remember the Titans, strong side, left side. That's one that I really remember. And have you seen Coach Carter?
Yes.
And I don't remember the quote word for word, but it was the part where the kid was getting back on the team.
Oh, yeah.
And he was asking him
Yep.
like, what does it mean? And he actually towards the end of the movie, he was able to say a whole like poem kind of back to him. That was a good.
Yeah,
quote.
that's good stuff.
Yes, sir. Next question: what is your go-to snack on the road when you're traveling?
I'm a big trail mix guy, but I'm not a big fan of raisins. So,
okay.
my big beef with a lot of these gas stations right now is they mix raisins and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way with chicken salad.
Okay.
Love chicken salad. And then
to put raisins in.
folks throw like grapes in there. It's like so there are a lot of things in life that are wonderful.
Right.
That when put together are terrible. I'm a big fan of peanut butter and tuna fish. I would never put them together. So I'm not a big fan of raisins at all, period. So I really don't get why someone had something as good as trail mix. You got all kinds of nuts in there. You got M&Ms in there
Right.
that top it off, and then someone said, let's toss raisins in there. It's a horrific idea.
So you think trail mix would be way better if they took out the raisins?
Without raisins. Cut the raisins, $1 billion idea.
Okay. My go-to snack, if I'm on the road traveling or something like that, well, for sure I have to have a Minute Maid with me. If I'm
Sure.
traveling to a game, like that's like a superstition I have. I drink a Minute Maid before every game.
You go orange or apple?
Blue raspberry.
Oh, blue raspberry? Never had it.
Blue raspberry. It's the best flavor.
Huh.
Yeah. But snack-wise, I'm not like a chips guy. I'll probably just get some Jolly Rancher like Sour Patch Kids or something like that.
What's wild is these people who convince themselves that like carrot sticks and celery and stuff is legitimate snack food. That's what rabbits eat. Like that's not something a human snacks. So I've never believed in this. What kind of psychopaths eating that stuff for fun?
Nah, yeah, celery and carrots. I'll eat carrots like cooked, sweetened carrots,
Yeah, that's
like candied
fine.
carrots. I can't eat just bite a carrot or just bite a celery stick. I'm okay.
Nah, I'm passing every time.
I'm okay. Okay, so last one that we have for Talking Tennessee is how much do you know about the Vols' best football movie?
Apparently not as much as I should. That's what I'm finding out. Apparently not as much as I should.
Yeah, me too as well. Me too as well.
Just means I got something to watch. That's what God
Facts.
made summers for. God made summers so I could catch up on all this stuff.
Indeed. So what would you, we still getting to know you. You seem like you like summers. And would you say summer is like a downtime for you where you're not necessarily on a tour or working that much?
It is, but I think one of the differences if you're a fan, because I remember when I used to be a fan, season would end, get through spring ball, and then it feels like this desert. It feels like nothingness until the fall. And now that I'm in this side of the business, there's constantly something going on.
Right.
And you always tell yourself in the middle of fall, if it's week 7, oh, I can't wait to get to the off season. But then you learn it doesn't exist.
Right.
And I don't even say the word out loud on my show anymore because there's never, like, I cannot think off the top of my head of a month out of the year where I just have time to do stuff. But I'm not complaining because I love to do it. But like, summer's loaded, man. And in some cases, it's less structured because in the fall, there's a game every 7th day, and you got shows Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. In the summer, it's anything and everything. You could be going all over the country. You could be going to different symposiums, seminars, and speaking engagements. So there's never a rest. But look, man, normal people work 12 months out of the year.
Right.
So why shouldn't I have to? I get to do something I like to do.
That's true. Saying that, if you could choose one vacation spot, like what would be your top vacation? Like you get a couple of days, you going on a vacation. Where are you going?
I see videos of the Maldives.
Maldives.
I see pictures. I've never been there.
Okay.
I've never been out of the country.
Yeah, me either.
And so I'd love to, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going as far away as I possibly can.
I feel you.
And I want there to be ocean, seclusion. I don't want to be around anyone. I'm not that social anyway.
Yeah.
So I want to be completely isolated and cut off and probably like toss my phone in a bin somewhere and I'll see y'all in, 2 days you said?
Yeah,
I'd love to get a week.
Yeah.
But if you give me 2 days, I can make it work in 2 days.
For sure. Well, that is all for Talking Tennessee. And now we're going to move into our trivia section. And let's just see what I know, what you know,
Okay.
because
All
I'm
right.
sure it's a lot that we don't know. So, first trivia question. How many national titles does Tennessee football have?
3. Final answer?
Final answer 3?
Yeah.
And
No?
6.
6? Can you? Do we have the years written down somewhere?
I do not have the years.
I remember one
but
of
I
them.
know the last one's
Yep.
98.
I lived through one of them. That's what I know.
I know the last one's 98. Okay, next question. Who? When was the first football team for Tennessee?
Oh
What
man.
year?
So this is pre-color TV. This could be pre-TV period. Is it a 19?
No.
It's
I'll
not.
give you that.
So
not a
it's like
19.
1892 or something like that. Is it 1892?
1891. That's close. That was close.
1891. Who can forget that year too? What a year! So many things happened in that year.
Man. Okay. Next question. What was the first football game for the Vols, and who was the president of the United States?
Late 1800s. I think like Grover Cleveland was in the 1900s. Man, this is a complete shot in the dark guess. But since your eyes got big, I'm going to stick with Grover Cleveland because I don't know anybody else. I'm going to say, and you said who was it against? Is that what it was?
No, it says first football game for the Vols. Who was the president of the United States at that time?
I'm going to randomly guess Grover Cleveland.
It was Benjamin Harrison.
Benjamin Harris. I had no shot. I had no shot.
Okay, so the next question we have is, the draft is this week.
Yep.
The total number of Vols that have been in the NFL is over 300 or under 300?
So they've been in the NFL, not just drafted, over 300.
You are correct. It's 384.
Yeah, now ask me to name them.
Do you think anybody would be able to name them?
No. Half of them, no.
I don't think no one would be able to name 384 players that have been drafted.
If they need to be working here, they need to be on this couch if they can.
They need to be at Tennessee if that's the case. Okay, next question, last and final question. In the song Rocky Top, is there a woo? And is Dixieland Delight a song about Tennessee?
Dixieland Delight's absolutely a song about Tennessee.
Okay.
So that's the easy part. Is there a woo in Rocky Top? I know there is when I listen in the stadium. If I were to pull up Google lyrics, is there one? My guess is no. If I listen to the actual recording of the song, my guess is no. But the way they sing it in the stadium, absolutely there is.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, so I tried to, wait, there's really one in the actual song?
See, like you kind of confused me because I don't know if you was to look up the lyrics and Google them, if it would have woo like on a YouTube lyric video.
Yeah.
But I know for sure when you're in the stadium at any game, they singing it has woo in it.
I always wondered this. Who's the authority on this? If everybody sings it with a woo and Google says no, who's right?
That's a great question. But I say I would have to go with the fans and the players, the people who sing it with the woo.
I would go with whoever makes my answer right. So yeah, we'll go with them.
For sure. Well, we appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
Glad
Appreciate
to have
having
you
me.
on. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And that's going to be it for us here on the O'Reilly Show. And we appreciate you guys. And remember, on the O'Reilly Show, we're going to bring you content straight from us, student athletes. And we continue to interact with us, engage with us, and can't wait to see you guys next time. Thank you.